Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. VALORANT Rostermania is starting to become somewhat clear. Zekken has been confirmed to be joining the Sentinels as the first piece of their roster for the upcoming season. But further drama between ShahZaM, Zombs and the Sentinels organization, confirming really that Sentinels do not like telling their players particularly quickly when they're getting released from the team. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate getting so many subs there today. Let's crack through 33,000 and beyond. Thank you very much for the support the last few days. Honestly, really do appreciate it. Firstly, this from cNed. Today is the day, but in fact, he didn't confirm what the day was going to be. So cNed has been linked to Vitality and also BBL as potential options. He probably has a fair few offers, so he's probably going to bide his time to figure out what his plan is to do. Now, some talk about the APAC region real quick. Gen.G have got a couple of players that they're going to sign. Meteor and Bale from Northampton, they're bringing them in. Meteor, one of these players, especially that, honestly, I think like he looks like a phenomenal player. I really like this guy, and Gen.G are going to bring him in. So that is apparently going to be the plan, to bring those two players into the roster. Pretty good stuff, I thought, in general. Now, this is what T1 are planning to do. We saw, of course, that Thwyfo and obviously Steel are going to be departing that team. They built kind of like a Korean core, as we expected they might be getting into the Korean or the Pacific League, effectively. Now, Sire player, formerly of the Guard, is apparently going to sign the deal here. Now, this T1 team is very interesting because I think a lot of people are going to say, hang on a second, how are the roles even working on this team? But look, they're just going to put a load of talented players together and hope that it works out and, you know, effectively trust that the roles will come into their own. But that's been a big discussion lately, what exactly is going on with the Guards, like their top players, the likes of Trent and even Valiant and Sire player, where are they going to end up? Sire player seemingly to T1. Where is Trent going to go? Who knows? There's been some talk, you know, could he potentially fit into a team like even Sentinels or elsewhere? Of course, we still don't know what EG are planning to do, and that's the thing. A lot of you guys have been asking, when is the deadline for these things to be confirmed? The present discussion has been that there is a soft roster lock on October the 15th in just a few days' time, when, well, I guess a week and a bit's time, when the teams have to confirm what they're planning to do and whether they can actually get the visas and all this stuff sorted out. But they actually don't have to lock in their team until the start of February, when the league is practically about to begin. So they've got a long time, but evil geniuses have to give Riot some idea of what they're doing within about a week or so, by which point a lot of the other top teams will have practically locked in their rosters, and we believe we have a good idea what Sentinels are planning to do, but it's still, of course, far from confirmed. That is the T1 plan. The other player they're trying to get is Lakia, so very interesting team. This apparently is going to be the roster. Munchkin, Zeta, Ban, Sire player, and Lakia. Really interesting team, like kind of unclear where the roles are going to go, but look, they're bringing a lot of talented players to this roster, and they're going to hope it works, and I think it's a kind of a nice team on paper. Certainly a lot of talent on there, so good to see that Sire player and, you know, even Lakia, after the difficult few months that he has had, and also, well, some of the former Guard guys at the very least are getting some opportunities, because cNed are flooded in opportunities right now, and you can understand why. But the Guard were kind of the dominant force of the first part of the season, so it would be good to see some of those guys, you know, Trent, for example, get some sort of spot in the franchise league in North America, but time will only tell. Now, cNed, formerly of Crew, is apparently in talks with also both NA and EU teams, so no real discussions on where he might go yet, but apparently, like, well, discussions are ongoing with where he might end up, so I guess we'll have to stay tuned for that one. And also, this crazy announcement finally happens last night from Awen, of course, formerly of the cNed, that he's going to join, I believe, as the IGL for the global esports Indian roster. Now, what they do next with the rest of their kind of organization, with the rest of their players, who knows? They have confirmed indeed he will be the first player on their team, their first kind of import from the team, but from their region, they're going to have to bring in other players as well to, well, from that region to round out the team. So really interesting stuff. Honestly, this is like one of the most mind-blowing things I've seen in this Rostermania so far. But yeah, global esports, Aaron, can you think about that one? Now, this from Cloud9, they confirmed yesterday that Mitch is officially gone. We, of course, believe we know that Zelsis is kind of coming in for Mitch effectively, and then Ye is coming in to round out the team. But yeah, Mitch I thought was a great pickup early on. I suppose in effect, like, Mitch has been doing a lot of the operator work lately, so it's kind of Ye coming in this sense. And Zelsis, we believe, rounding out the team, and just some further kind of a discussion on why Ye might be joining us. This here from Vanity, Chamber should get buffed, he says, right? So, I mean, yeah, if you're getting a rather good Chamber player, you probably think about potentially getting a Chamber buff. So we expect things to be announced in due course. This was kind of the first rumor we heard, really. The first few days of Rostermania was all about where is Ye going to go. That's become quite clear for quite some time. But yeah, you know, there's been no confirmation of that yet, whereas other teams have been locking in confirmations, such as with Zekken. Officially now, Sentinel Zekken. We saw this rumored for quite some time, one of the real star players along with Cryo of that xSet team at the end of last season. It was kind of interesting, right, because there was that drama we talked about where I think it was Stella from 100 Thieves said at one point about, you know, xSet, they don't really have any like heavy hitters, or so he said something like that, or like they do, but maybe like we can shut them down or something. And then of course, you know, they turned out to be rather good, the Zekken and Cryo guy, to such a degree that Cryo actually got signed to 100 Thieves. And Zekken, we've been expecting to go to Sentinels. He confirms here earlier yesterday he signed the contract. Then this comes out from xSet confirming that Zekken is going to be gone from the team. Thank you, Zekken. And of course, at exactly the same time, Sentinels confirm the beginning of a new era. Zekken has arrived. So as it stands, we don't know pretty much anything of what Sentinels are doing officially, but we have a good idea on paper. There still are rumors that dapr is going to stay. And well, the latest we hear is that still TenZ is not going to be here. Like that is what, like, seemingly every day that's kind of the discussion that's ongoing right now, that TenZ is unlikely to stay. But then some are saying that, well, you know, who else do you get, right? You know, Dicey, B-Dog, there are potentially other players in that chamber role, but like, you know, that would be a surprise still. So we'll see on that one. I still kind of feel like TenZ has got to stay. Like, surely Sentinels won't let him go. I think that would be a big mistake personally, especially from the kind of branding perspective, but maybe they think differently. But Zekken is now officially on the Sentinels roster, so we expect Dephh to join him as the IGL. We're expecting dapr to stay. We don't think the Sick is going to be here. Obviously, ShahZaM is not going to be here as their former IGL. TenZ, you would still think would be there, but also they then need like potentially a controller player. Marved has been linked, but we'll talk about Marved later today because there's been some questions about where he's potentially going to go. But Zekken now officially signed to the Sentinels, and I'm sure the rest of their roster will be built over the coming days. Now, this was kind of the key clip we looked at yesterday, where ShahZaM found out he was no longer on Sentinels when he saw that George Geddes article. Now, you would have really expected that Sentinels would have let him know before this that, well, that he was going to be gone. Now, Rob Moore, the CEO of Sentinels, comes out and says the following: I want to clarify the situation with ShahZaM. On the 21st of September, quite a while ago now, I reminded him he did not have a contract for next season. We were most likely bringing in new coaches. They would decide the new roster, and he was free to contact other teams, effectively saying, like, you're probably gone. And I'm sure ShahZaM knew that for quite some time. He had a long talk with our coaches, and no contract was offered. Before we had signed new players, George Geddes leaked roster moves while ShahZaM was on stream. That was not an announcement from the team. The timing was unfortunate, but certainly not a surprise. So quite the interesting tweet here from the CEO, because ShahZaM implied in that clip that, you know, he really had, well, he had no idea until, well, he found out from this leaked article. Now, to be fair, there's been a lot of reaction to this. I believe even Hiko was saying on stream that, like, you know, other organizations would have been more transparent. You know, 100 Thieves and the like would have said, you know what, you're probably going to be gone. Because, like, they would have known for quite some time ShahZaM was not part of the plans. Like, we were talking about it on the channel a long time ago that ShahZaM was probably not going to be part of their plans. And even Hiko was talking about that on stream a few days ago. He was like, yeah, ShahZaM's probably not going to be there, at least in his opinion. So, you know, of course, Sentinels want to defend themselves and their process, saying that, you know, we were transparent with ShahZaM, as transparent as we should have been. And ShahZaM comes out and says, here, I messaged Rob privately too, but my disappointment in this process was the lack of comms from my team over the last 3 years. Deciding they want to restart is entirely their choice, but the timing of the leak, along with being in the dark, created the emotional response you saw on stream. Of course, I am disappointed not to be included in the roster for next year, but my grind continues. I am open for both tier 1 and tier 2 teams looking to win. So ShahZaM actually doubled down on this on stream as well and said, yes, I'm still here, I'm still looking to compete, I'm not going away. And ShahZaM is planning to hopefully get on, I suppose, EG would be the other opportunity, or potentially go to tier 2 and grind his way up that way. And effectively leaving Sentinels is what this means for ShahZaM. He's not going to stay on Sentinels as a content creator. He wants to go elsewhere and compete. So that's one piece of the puzzle, but also Zombs was kind of talking about this on stream as well. Firstly, roasting ShahZaM a bit. We know they've got a bit of beef going on there for his response, but also saying that this is really Sentinels' fault at heart, and they did the same thing to him.
My cam's working.
Looks like an article just went out.
Oh, my desktop doesn't even show the whole thing.
I just found out with you guys.
Bro, this guy acts like that's like shocking. Bro, you know when I got dropped from like the roster, they like knew they were dropping me for like 3 weeks, and they didn't tell me till like 3 days before VCT starting and the roster's locked, so I couldn't even find another team. I could have 100% joined another team.
So quite the statement really from Zombs. Like, of course, when he got dropped from the team, was benched from the roster, they of course made changes earlier this year. Like, apparently they knew they wanted to make moves for quite some time. He reckons they knew for 3 weeks they were going to make changes, and the organization or the players or whoever, the coaching staff, didn't tell him until just a few days before the start of the next stage, and therefore he had no time to find another team. So like, quite the indictment really of Sentinels as an organization, the kind of the process they adopted here. Like, both ShahZaM and Zombs say that, look, they kind of, would have known, or the team would have known, the organization would have known they were going to be gone, but didn't tell them in time to get the best offers. Now, it's still relatively early for ShahZaM, given the EG situation. ShahZaM, I'm sure, still can find potential opportunities in Tier 1, but because they left it quite late to actually tell ShahZaM that he's going to be gone, like, potential opportunities may have slipped by, because other teams have now locked in IGLs, where if ShahZaM was told immediately after Champs, effectively, that like, yeah, look, we want to go a different route here, or even potentially after the LCQ, then there is a world in which ShahZaM maybe gets some more offers. And we've seen another esports where, you know, some of the best organizations will release their players as quickly as they possibly can when they know they're going to be moving on, just so they get the best opportunity next up. Sentinels on a couple of occasions here seemingly haven't done that. So yeah, a bit interesting, right? Because they're not exactly acting here like a real top tier organization, in my opinion. But in fairness, they're still making top tier moves. Zekken is officially in. Just a couple of things to close out the video. Thought this is pretty funny. And the game now, a kind of tribute to Crashy's kind of, personnel. He mentions, you know, single riders here only on the Zipwire after a recent tragedy on that one, most certainly, that occurred at the World Championship. And just to say this as well, the Loud Boys have been credited in the game on many different maps here with, the trophy is here, the names are here, really cool stuff. This, of course, on many maps all across the game. This is on Pearl, of course, over towards that B bomb site, and this for sure also on Pearl on the other side of it. And even Pankada got himself a tattoo of the trophy. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new as always. Don't forget to do that one. Thanks for watching as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.